Hi everyone, it's Ann at Martin House Flowers. Welcome back. In my last video, I was doing the front porch, decorating it for Christmas. I did a couple of urns with greenery, and I promised that I would come back with a video where I was going to do my swag with my greenery and do a centerpiece. And I also thought I should add in there planting up my Amaryllis and the Hyacinths, which are the last bulbs that I received and still haven't planted up. My ground is pretty frozen, so I think I am now going to, I'm left with just filling pots. And I also have these Fritillaриas that are pretty dried up already. I don't know how viable they're going to be, but I think I'm going to put them in one of these pots as well, test it out, see how it goes. They're the little sort of lily type, a burgundy plum little miniature lily that I was going to plant by the front door somewhere, but the ground is so frozen and there's such tiny bulbs that I have a feeling they're going to get dug up by squirrels or rabbits or whatnot. So I'm going to plant those up in one of these 4 pots I have in front of me. And so yeah, I hope you stick around and enjoy this video. I mentioned that I have some bulbs, which I think I'll do first, and then I can clear the space and work on the swag. I think there's enough room on this table. Typically I work on my swag in the garage, but much colder in the garage versus the greenhouse. First off, I have these pure white Hippeastrum white nymph Amaryllis, and I believe they are a double. When I ordered them, they're size 26-28. So let's open those up. They came from K. Van Bergen something or other. I will put the name of the company down below, and actually I think it comes up under DutchBulbs.com. I was watching one of Greenery Gardens videos about dahlias, and I've been so tempted to grow dahlias because every cut flower farmer grows dahlias and they are so beautiful. And so I've been so curious. I just don't know if I have the diligence to pull them out at the end of the season in our zone 5, 5B. So I asked Crane in one of his videos where he worked on the dahlias, what his most successful, most recommended dahlia was. So I ordered those, pre-ordered them, as well as a couple others that are coming in the spring. And with that, I ordered 3 Amaryllis. So last year, I purchased Amaryllis that were in the wax, and I mentioned that, and they are over there under my grow lights, and I promised I was going to look at those or cut them open. So I might, if I have time in this video, I'll include it. Otherwise, I think I want to put a couple in this beautiful blue and white pot that I purchased from, I think, TJ Maxx on clearance last summer. I bought 2 of them, a smaller one that has my topiary over there, and this had my blew my mind dwarf morning glories for the longest time, and just a few minutes ago I pulled it out because although there were a few little blue buds that open up in the morning, the rest of the plant looked kind of gray and frostbitten. So I thought it was time. I didn't want to make it struggle that much longer, and I did get a long life out of that annual. I think it was my favorite Proven Winners annual. So anyway, I think I want to put, I only have 3 of these Amaryllis. I went a little lighter this year because I did paper whites. And I decided to grow 3 of these, 2 in here, and then I think just 1 in the smaller pot, because I have an idea to put this as a centerpiece in the center of a really large glass hurricane in my dining room to see if it fits. Otherwise, I might be stuck and I'll have to look for a smaller pot. But I think this might fit. Otherwise, but for now, I will keep them under grow lights and here in the greenhouse and see if that speeds up the blooming. So Amaryllis, you can plant them, you know, with really just half the bulb under soil, and so to about here. And as long as the roots have room to go. So I'm not fussy about the soil. I just pulled out the annual that was in here, the Blew My Mind Morning Glory. There's a few roots that I could continue to kind of pull out of here, but I'm just going to plant, I think, 2 of these so that I have a really nice showing, and then I will just tie it with ribbon once they start getting taller. So let's get 2 of them out here. They're definitely smaller than the waxed bulbs that I got last year from, I think I got them from Longfields last year. So I probably could even fit 3 in here to really make a statement and just leave them. I don't even have to put them on the grow lights. I could just have them sitting on the side here on my side table. Gee, I'm almost tempted to just do that. Let's see if 3 will fit in here. I didn't realize this pot was this big since I only had 1 annual in it. Yep, 3 fit nicely. And they are touching a little bit, but that's okay. I think I'm going to do that, and instead I will put some blue hyacinths in the small pot for indoors, because in the dining room I do have a painting by Goutorn Auto, blue hyacinths. So there you go. It's pretty much done. I had eliminated or removed about half of the soil off the top when I pulled out about a third, I should say, off the top. And I'm just going to add some more potting mix to that in a minute. And then I'm going to throw in here, let's see, those are the 3. Maybe for something different, because I have 2 white ones and 1 yellow one. I only have 10 hyacinths left. I don't know where the others went. I must have put 10 in another pot, another clay pot that I just can't think of that's in the garage already. So let's see how many, because I removed and or filled this. One of this was a brand new pot here I hadn't used yet. I just half filled it with potting mix, and then the others I just removed. Unfortunately, my basil plants succumbed to the frost, so I took out the plants and left just half the soil. So I'll show you in a minute. A little crowded here, so I think I'm just going to do 1 hyacinth in the middle of this little pot. So that I have an even number, I'm going to do 3. 3 hyacinths in each of these white pots so that I have a pair. That makes sense. I wanted to show you this large pot that was sitting at my front step at the porch that had those beautiful snapdragons still blooming into the first frost and after the first snowfall. And then finally, when it dipped down to about 4 degrees below freezing, the plants, the snapdragons totally froze to the soil, and I was only able to snip them off, and I still can't even break through some of the stems that are in the soil. And so I've just put them in the garage in this wheelbarrow, which is how I carried them in. And because I was able to dig fairly deep in there, I've just laid a bag of 10 hyacinths, a mixed blue bunch in here, and then I'm just going to top it with potting mix and leave it here over the winter. And I won't make the mistake of carrying them out too soon in early spring. I'm going to wait till they are almost blooming before taking them out, because last year when I brought out some hyacinths that were potted and left to overwinter in the garage, I brought them out too soon and they froze on my potting bench. So stay tuned for this, and let's move into the greenhouse to do some smaller pots. So I just topped it up with some potting mix, and it's about 5 inches ideally 6 inches of soil above, whether you use compost or potting mix. And I've just laid it on top. I will water this in and we'll wait for spring. And then these little fritillarias. See how many are in here. I've had these fritillarias for a while now. I'm just going to mass plant it in here. There's probably only about 10 bulbs. Plant 4 inches deep, 3 to 4 inches apart, sun to part shade, blooms mid to late spring. So we will find out if we're successful in forcing these. It's probably a good idea to leave these in cold temperatures if they're not in the ground. I know hyacinths for sure like to be cooled, pre-chilled. So I will probably keep these in the garage or maybe close to the, I might put them on the windowsill here where it's cool. Here's a fritillaria bulb, and you can see that there's roots down below, and kind of you can see the buds up here. So I'm going to bury these with the root side down. Gosh, some of them are not looking really healthy. They're really tiny little bulbs and look really dried up. Not great. Not putting a lot of hope in here. So I'm literally just scattering them in here, trying to put the root face down, and then I will just put some potting mix, not too much because it's pretty, these are pretty small. Throw them in here. Officially the last of my bulbs. So there you go. There's the Amaryllis with the 3, and there the pots with the Hyacinth and Fritillaria. So there are the 3 Amaryllis bulbs. I just added some moss to the top of the soil just to clean it up and make it look a little prettier. So I'm going to leave them here on the counter, this table in the greenhouse. And then I'll bring them inside once they start blooming. So I wanted to show you the other method of growing hyacinths. I ordered these special bulb vases from Amazon, and they basically they're the easiest way to grow hyacinth bulbs, to force them indoors. And because again based on the theory that they like to be cool. I've had these in the greenhouse for a couple of weeks, and you can see here that I just have the water hitting right to the edge of the bulb so that the roots can root down into the water. So I'm not sure if you can see that they're rooting there already. There's about a centimeter of roots on that one. And you don't want to immerse your bulb. You just want to have the surface, the bottom surface roots touching the water. And I can see underneath, I don't know if you can see it, that the roots are starting to come out into the water, which is great. I'm also seeing that the top of the bulb is starting to show itself above the bulb. And that one, I'm seeing one little root. So yeah, I have those sitting on my bottom shelf of my console table here in the greenhouse because it's cool. Even though I've got the heater going and it's ranging anywhere from the mid 30s to the 40s here with these heaters, I think it's the coolest place. And they're kind of down under, so they're not getting direct sunlight. So I mentioned previously that I might cut into this wax bulb because I'm curious what it looks like, about what it looks like inside. Sorry, I'm trying to walk carefully behind this table here as Greg has the wires or the socket not firmly secure into the wall yet, but anyway, I just thought it was easier. So I think what I'm going to do is first remove this really easily. Came off the little stand that it came with. I can see that it's pretty soft inside, and it's rotten. I think I don't want to spend more time. But when you buy these, what's an amazing thing is that they have everything in the bulb, enough moisture in the bulb that you can give them as a gift or just put them in a container, vase, pot, basket, whatever you want, or just stand them on your, on your table or whatever you'd like to, or however you'd like to display it. And you don't need to do anything. You just let it sit there, and it, I tried to put them near a window initially so that they would seek some light, but they just grew, and most of them were doubles. They weren't, the most inexpensive. You can buy cheaper Amaryllis in the grocery stores, hardware stores, online. They're a little more expensive online, but the ones that you see online, like at Longfield Gardens, are usually larger than the ones you buy at the grocery stores. But what I should have done, the proper thing, the learning here is that if you buy these bulbs at the end of the season, when they finish blooming, you should store them you should actually remove this wax casing and put them in a paper bag and store them in a cool, dark place. And I believe I did that with one of them in my pantry in a paper bag. And my husband kept saying, "What is this paper bag with this onion looking thing?" And it basically dried up and rotted. I forgot to plant it in the ground like you were supposed to. So you should remove the casing after they finish blooming and then put it in a cool, dark place. And then in the summer, put them in the ground, and then in the fall dig them up and pot them up in a container for winter blooming for the holidays. So I'm not great at doing those things. So this is why I'm not sure I'm going to be good at dahlias, but I'm going to try. I think I pre-ordered 15 dahlias. I'm going to put in my garden somewhere, maybe the raised bed that I can remember to dig them up at the end of the season and follow through. That's going to be a challenge, a personal challenge, but this is what happens if you don't pull them out. They are going to rot on you like this one. I can almost just tear this off. But believe it or not, it's been sitting under grow lights and it still feels moist under there. It's amazing how much moisture it holds. But I can guarantee you that it is definitely rotten. I can smell it and feel the moisture. So that is what happens if you don't plant, don't remove the casing and plant it and then repot it. Just a little learning for all of us. So as promised, I said I would do a swag, and I took a look at the box that I had in the garage after I did the two urns on my front porch, and I have quite a bit. This is just maybe a third or a quarter of what's still left between the branches that I collected from our Christmas tree and the box that I purchased, the box of greenery I purchased from Lynch Creek Farms in Oregon. I have lots left. So I absolutely love the blue juniper. Look at how beautiful that is. So I think what I'll do first, so that I can move on to the bigger things, I'll just try to use up my smallest pieces for the arrangement. So there's a nice small piece that I'm going to use. I already filled up. So this box was from I think a Mother's Day or birthday floral arrangement that my daughter Hannah gave to me a few years ago. She sent it to me, and I love anything rustic, if you haven't noticed already. So I found this short clear vase that I put it filled with water, and it fits in here nicely, and it sits a little bit above, but you will not see that. So I'm just gonna find these small pieces and put them aside. Anything that's too small. This is from the Christmas tree. You can see there's some lighter tips. Don't know if I like that one. It's looking a little, but a lot of this, these smaller balsam firs branches, and of course these beautiful blue. I have my pruners, my old 20-year-old Felco 6 pruners. These are Felco 6 Swiss made. I've had these for a good 20 years. From the time I was working at when I closed my art gallery after 9/11, I did a summer stint at a local perennial company, and where I just wanted to basically learn and get paid a little bit. I'm just going to put this here and clean this up after, where I learned all about perennials, growing perennials, and I was starting out my garden. where I lived in Schaumburg, and I had a beautiful garden there that I started from scratch. So I've taken out a few of these branches. Basically, the same rule of thumb as in doing fresh flowers. You don't want to have any, you want to reduce the amount of greenery, leaves, foliage in the water, because that is what creates bacteria. So I'm going to give it a nice clean cut, angled cut, so it will drink. I might actually face it down so that we can build it up. And I'm not putting any netting. It's a really tight little opening. It's about 4 to 6 inches. So whenever I'm doing these arrangements, I like to kind of have my eye on, you know, 2 of my arrangements so that I can, whatever pieces I can use for one and eyeball it for this, for the other one. So I'm looking at these going, okay, this one's kind of wide and short. Will it work as a swag? I could use it at the top, or it would work here too. So this is going to be a nice main one. And I'm just going to build it there's really a fresh scent with all of these different greeneries. Yep, the balsam fir has a really nice smell. I know the juniper isn't a favorite. I think Greg pointed out he didn't like the smell of the juniper berries. Yeah, it smells a little bit sour, but it's just so pretty. I think I'm going to cut this one a little bit shorter. Actually, I think I'm going to use that for the swag now I think about it, because it's longer, and I'll use this shorter one. Unfortunately, I have to cut some of these off because that will sit in water. The other thing you can do when you have a really thick branch is to cut it, to slice it kind of in the middle like that, so that I put a slice in the middle so that it drinks up as much water. And this one has a broken branch, but that'll be covered. So I think this one works better than the other one. So I'm going to use the balsam to kind of fall down like that. This other one here too is a nice one. It's short. And you just basically want to create, follow the natural flow. I'm just trying to defoliate these needles with my hands and my gloves. Really important to wear gloves because these greeneries, you know, secrete some sticky substance that you will have a hard time getting off your fingers. So these want to jump upward like this, so I am going to put them upside down so that they just follow the natural flow. And yes, some of these needles are going to be touching the water, but I'm not too concerned. I can change out the water, and you know, this is just something that you're going to have on your table, coffee table, for a few weeks. The blue is really nice there, so that might be my front. This I said I would use from swag. Another one for the swag. I think I'm going to collect a few for the swags. That's definitely for swag. These are beautiful for swag. Sorry, I'm just trying to separate what I'm... So indoors, I don't have as much red going on. I have my buffalo check mostly for outdoors because it's brighter and more visible from the road. But indoors, I try to do more neutral colors. And then you saw in my decor that it's a lot of creams and greens and a little bit of blue and a little bit of deep red that you see in the ornaments and burgundy velvet ribbons that I used. So that's what it looks like so far. I do have a fairly low kind of hurricane lantern on our kitchen, above our kitchen table, so I don't like to do anything too tall. Again, I'm going to make a nice angled cut here so it drinks. And I'm going to go ahead and remove these. That way you see the beautiful needles on the front there, whereas the rest of the ones in the front here are kind of naturally falling down. So that's pretty much done. I'm going to do something over here. I thought I had a little bit of pine, but I guess I don't. I do have this little bit of cedar. I have enough here. I want to make sure I have, if I'm going to do, turns out I have 3 lanterns around our 3-car garage. I believe there's 3 there, and then a 4th one beside the front door. So I want to make sure I have at least enough for 2 swags of cedar. Maybe I'll do one in the middle with the cedar and then one for the front door. So that's enough for 2. Here I'm going to use because it's not going to make that much of a difference on the swag. So I think I'll use it in the front here. Let's see how it looks. Because it drapes naturally, I'm just going to have it kind of drape over the fur. Have it sort of fan out. Yeah. And sometimes I like to hang a little ornament or put little balls just for a little bit of bling with all this greenery. or some ribbon. So we'll take that inside and add some velvet ribbon on there because I do have velvet ribbon inside. So that's good for now until we add the little bit of embellishments. So we'll put that aside and we'll bring it indoors. So let's just do one swag, maybe two, with the materials I have here. So you basically start with your base, and in this case, this is the base that I'm going to use, and I hang them usually upside down. I've seen some people kind of do them this way, but the weight is up here. So this is where I like to wire everything, and then I put a bow up here. I usually do, depending on how many branches I have, I might just do 3 branches and call it a day. But I have so many. So here's, again, a very natural fan-shaped branch that came from our tree, our fir tree. So I'm going to use it because it's not that attractive. There's a lot of dry spots. I'm going to use it as the base and then just build the fir, the balsam fir over it like that. And then another one over here like this. Put the blue juniper in front for some interest, and this gorgeous, I have my paddle of florist wire, my wire cutters, and it really takes just a few minutes. So I've got my base, my second layer, another piece here to fill up any bald spots. I've cut the cedar because there was plenty. There's really no science to it. You just arrange your branches so that they're pleasing to your eye. And you wire them together. You can add pine cones if you'd like. I'm not going to because, again, we have such crazy winds here that the less loose pieces, the better, because I'm worried about things just flying away. So I'm just going to get it wound, first one wound as tightly as possible with gloves on, because again, that sticky stuff will just get all over my fingers and it'll take forever to wash off. So I got the wire started, and I'm just going to take my paddle and go around a few times. Last year we did it with twine and it did not work nearly as well. So I highly recommend you use some wiring, some floral wire, and just go around a few times. And I would go, a good 3 inches down from the base so that you have got all the branches really secured. And I think that is pretty good. Right there. One more for good measure, really tightly. loop it in and around a couple times so that nothing is hanging out. Test it out, make sure it's not going anywhere. And then you take your, here's an option. I found these from previous arrangements. You can add them on if you'd like, if that's your vibe, but I think it's too bright. I'm definitely going to take a look at these by the urns, one in each urn, and see if that looks okay, because I noticed that the red ribbon is not visible as much on the one on the far left. So take my ribbon, my buffalo check, a nice thick one, nice wide one, and just tie yourself a nice bow. And take my gloves off. Give yourself enough length so that when you tie it, you've got the length of the ribbon. I think that's good now. Cover up your wiring right there. You make 2 loops. Make your loops nice and big. And you can do the fishtail if you want with the V in the middle, whatever you'd like. And there you've got your swag. Nice and simple. Again, you can add pine cones, any other embellishments. But I like the very simple, natural look with a nice plaid ribbon. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next video.